You've all watched Shrek 1,000 times, right? On TV, streaming, maybe even on that scratched DVD from the rental store. But what if I told you that even after all this time, there are still secrets, hidden jokes, and brilliant details that most people simply missed? That's right, Shrek is much more than an inverted fairy tale. It's a goldmine of references, Easter eggs, curiosities, and insights that only the most attentive eyes can catch. So let's uncover it all, from hilarious jabs at Disney to the most bizarre Easter eggs and references to other movies you never imagined. Right in the first few seconds of Shrek, the movie makes it clear that it's not here to play around. You know that classic opening from Disney movies with a fairy tale book opening and telling the princess's story? Well, Shrek takes that idea and kicks the door down. The scene is a direct parody of Sleeping Beauty, but instead of magic and enchantment, Shrek simply tears out the page and uses it as toilet paper. Yes, that's right, a brilliant jab that already shows the satirical and irreverent tone of the movie. And the jokes don't stop there. Pay attention to Shrek's bathroom door. That little sign that looks like any symbol, it's the DreamWorks logo itself. A signature in the middle of the joke showing that the production company isn't afraid to laugh at itself and break the rules. It's like an Easter egg right in your face, but many people don't even notice. Oh, and there's a detail that only Eagle Eyes, or the most inattentive animators, caught: a continuity error. When Shrek is chopping wood, the log appears on one side, then the other. Magic? No. It's just the animation slipping up a bit, but it becomes a fun curiosity for those of us who love hunting for these little mistakes. In the scene where the villagers try to hunt the ogre, there's a brilliant insight. One guy grabs a spoon as a weapon, another lights a torch in the fireplace, like they're going to face a monster and seem completely unprepared. And that's where the irony of the movie comes in. Shrek may be big, green, and scary, but in the end, the real monsters are the humans who persecute, judge, and have prejudice. This is the tone the movie will carry throughout. Comedy, but with hidden social commentary. And speaking of bizarre things, did you know that the fire-breathing ogre is a direct reference to the book that inspired the movie? And those eyes in Shrek's soup? Don't worry, they're not human. They're from slugs, probably the ones listening to music in the swamp. Oh, and there's a very dark reference that few people catch. The scene where the villagers sew clothes with the victim's skin.
Now, ogres, they're much worse. They'll make a suit from your freshly peeled skin.
Is a direct allusion to the Silence of the Lambs. Heavy, right? But it's further proof of how Shrek is full of layers and references for all ages. Get ready for an Easter egg festival. When Lord Farquaad orders all magical creatures to be captured, Shrek's swamp becomes a true fairy tale multiverse. There are so many references that it's almost impossible to catch everything at first. The 7 dwarfs appear carrying Snow White in a coffin, just like in the classic Disney cartoon. But calm down, it's not a dead woman, it's just a joke with the scene. And the 3 little pigs? Notice their hats. One of straw, one of wood, and one of bricks, symbolizing their houses. A simple but brilliant detail that shows the animation's care. Pinocchio appears being arrested and crying, and even characters who would only gain prominence in future films make quick appearances like Puss in Boots. The blind mice, which seem random, are actually from an old nursery rhyme. And there's even the Pied Piper of Hamelin and the 3 fairies from Sleeping Beauty. It's a true convention of magical characters invading the screen. Oh, and a curious detail. Donkey meets Shrek by order of Lord Farquaad, and when Donkey flies with a fairy, it's a scene that directly parodies the Disney movie. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to pause the movie every second so you don't miss anything.
And now, let's talk about him, the meanest short guy in animation, Lord Farquaad.
I am Lord Farquaad.
Did you know that his look and personality were inspired by Michael Eisner, who is the head of Disney at the time? That's right. The beef is that Jeffrey Katzenberg, one of the founders of DreamWorks, left Disney after a dispute with Eisner. So Shrek became a kind of disguised revenge. And notice Farquaad's castle. It's basically a satirical version of Disney parks. It has a ticket booth, an organized line, a souvenir shop, and even an attraction similar to It's a Small World. It's DreamWorks looking at the competitor and saying, we can play too. And there's more. The name Farquaad can be interpreted as an insult. If you separate the syllables and change a letter, think about it.
Shrek is practically a festival of pop culture references, and many of them are so subtle that they go unnoticed. Let's see if you've noticed these. The night tournament, for example, strongly resembles the epic scenes from Gladiator. That arena atmosphere, the crowd, everything refers to the movie. And Shrek's line to Donkey when he says,
Thank you very much. I'm here till Thursday. Try the veal.
this phrase comes straight from The Godfather,
Prova Vitela, é a melhor da cidade.
a reference that only the most hardcore movie fans caught. Remember the rope bridge leading to the dragon's castle? It's identical to the one in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, a clear homage to one of cinema's greatest adventurers. And Fiona, she's not just a princess waiting to be rescued. In the scene where she fights, her movements are identical to Trinity's in The Matrix, and she even pulls off a move that seems straight out of a classic Batman movie. She's the princess showing she has attitude and knows how to fight.
Shrek is a master at hiding details that we only notice after multiple viewings. One of the most iconic scenes is Fiona singing with the bird imitating Snow White. But here, the bird explodes trying to keep up with Fiona's high note. Total dark humor. And the detail? She even takes the bird's eggs to fry later. Zero waste. Another subtle detail, but one that says a lot about Fiona. When she offers Shrek a spiderweb and fly snack, she licks her fingers afterward, showing that deep down she also has that ogre side that perfectly matches him. And Lord Farquaad, always boastful, has a portrait of himself in the style of the Birth of Venus. The guy thinks he's a true god, only 1.4 meters tall. And the scene with Shrek and Donkey looking at the stars? A direct parody of The Lion King, when Mufasa talks about the great kings of the past. Shrek's ending is a show in itself, full of insights and references that close the movie with a flourish. In the wedding scene, for example, two princesses start fighting in the audience. It's a direct jab at Disney cliches, where princesses always seem desperate to find a prince. Shrek shows that not every princess is the same, and that real life is much more fun. And when the dragon invades the church, the gigantic shadow that appears on the wall is a direct homage to the never-ending story, a nostalgic reference for those who grew up watching this classic. And there's more. The dragon eating the landmark is a reference to the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. It's the kind of joke that makes you laugh out loud and think, how did I not notice this before? When Fiona assumes her true form, the scene is a beautiful homage to Beauty and the Beast, but with Shrek's twist. The movie ends with the book closing, just like the end of Cinderella. Only here, after a lot of fun and breaking expectations, Shrek proves that fairy tales can be much more interesting when they stray from the traditional.
To top it off, some extra curiosities that prove that Shrek is a movie full of layers and details that we only notice after a long time. The song All Star by Smash Mouth, which became the face of the movie, wasn't supposed to be there. It was only put in as a test in preview screenings, but people liked it so much they decided to keep it. Can you imagine Shrek without All Star? Inconceivable. And the name Shrek? It comes from the German Schreck, which means fear, dread. In other words, he is literally Mr. Fear. But deep down, we know he's a sweetheart, right? Did you know that the author of the book that inspired the movie, William Steig, also wrote a children's story about what? A donkey with a magic stone. Coincidence? I don't think so. This explains the scene where Donkey finds a very beautiful stone and Shrek takes a while to respond when Donkey asks his name, as if he was thinking, because he really was. It was probably the first time someone asked his name. And there's more. Shrek's house door sometimes opens inward, sometimes outward. A small animation error that became a curiosity. And finally, one of the most touching curiosities. Shrek always says he wants to be alone, but at his table there are 2 chairs, indicating that deep down he wants company. He creates a protective shell against the prejudice of other people who judge him before getting to know him. It's a powerful message about acceptance and not judging a book by its cover.
So, guys, tell me, how many of these details had you already noticed? I'm sure at least one was new, right? Which one was the most surprising for you? Comment below. And if you remember any extra details that I didn't mention here, share them with us in the comments. We love learning from you. If you enjoyed this dive into Shrek's swamp, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to not miss the next videos. Because soon, they will be the continuation, details you missed in Shrek 2, which has even more jokes, more Easter eggs, and of course, more beef with Disney. You won't want to miss it. Thanks a lot for your company. A hug, and see you in the next video. I'm out!